Happy Thanksgiving, my favorite day of the year. And you know why it's a very special Thanksgiving day? It's Crystal Pepsi Thanksgiving Day. I've been sitting on this since my good friend Quinlan Voss sent it to me, and I told him, I said I didn't know when I was going to drink it. He asked, he said, when are you going to drink it? And I was so happy because I did make plans to drink it. I hope he wasn't someone saying I gave you this not to open or drink, Matt, to look at. I was like, yeah, I'm going to drink this, and I didn't. It was going to be Christmas, but there's so much going on Christmas, so that'd not be good. And then New Year's Eve, but then I thought, no, 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 no. Thanksgiving is my favorite day of the year. Hence, Crystal Pepsi must be drunk on it, right? It's got to be. So it is a Crystal Pepsi Thanksgiving. This is the 30-year edition one. Only 300 winners, and he was one of them. And thank you, Brendan, for giving me this. This is one of the things I am thankful for. So yeah, I'll be testing that out. My girls may make an appearance. I've been up since, oh gosh, past 2 hours now with them and the babies. Mrs. is bathing them. We're about to go to our parents' house in about another 2 hours. We do a waffle breakfast, is what we do. So we do a waffle breakfast, and then the big Thanksgiving dinner is later on that evening. So let's see. I will crack this open. This is going to happen later on. If my girls want to sip, they may have a sip. But I am very excited. I am very excited. Thanksgiving Day, in my opinion, best holiday. Mostly ignored now, but it's a day where you just eat with your family, have a good time, and then, of course, when you go to bed and wake up the next day, Christmas season officially begins. So, oh, happy Thanksgiving, Rob. He says, recently rewatched Revenge of the Sith. Do you think Bail Organa knew Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader? That's a good question since he was good friends. Well, no, he's good friends with Kenobi more than he was Darth Vader. I'd say no. I'd say no. Because if he did, why wouldn't he have told his daughter that? Well, no, he did know. No, he had to have known, right? He probably just kept it a big secret because he knew they were the children of Anakin, and Obi-Wan probably did tell him. Now that I think about it, you're right. He probably did know. He just didn't have the heart to tell his daughter that, or his adopted daughter. So yeah, there you go. Raging Rhino. Here, let's see if Rhino wants to come on. It's a special day, and there's very few people I like to share it with, and Raging Rhino would be one of them if he's available. Wait. No, he's not going to go live today, is he? He's going live tonight, I think. Anyway, so yes, he does. He does. Sorry. Still waking up. Although I've been awake. Loud girls may be coming in later on. I told them they had to get dressed. For some reason, kids like to run around naked all day if they could. I said, look, they go, you going to do a video? I said, yeah, you can be on it, but you got to put some clothes on there. So hopefully they will. I don't know if Australians celebrate Happy Thanksgiving. I don't know anyone outside the U.S. that does. I mean, I'm sure people do. I just know that not everyone celebrates the same holidays. And Thanksgiving Day is one of those days that not everyone celebrates, which is fine. I mean, But anyway, other than that, I have planned out what I want for Yubnub's holiday special. The filming for that starts next week. Let's see here. Any fun traditions? Oh, awesome. I love Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Love it. A friend of mine just recently started reading it. He's on Return of the King now. I want to read it, but I'm reading the Dune books right now. The new Dune trilogy came out. I don't have it with me, but I'm reading that and loving it so far. I'm just like 50, 80 pages in, I think, something like that. And it's good. It's good. So that's what I'm reading. And then after that, my buddy got me another book to read for our podcast, Jim Ross's autobiography, which I'm going to read next. So, but I will be reading Star Wars, and I'll go ahead and say it. There'll be daily videos for reread next month. I mean, I don't have them for every day of the week right now, but I figure when we start at the beginning of the month, I should be able to finish off the last few posts for the end of the month. Hello, hello. Yeah, these are the ones by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson that I've been reading, and I love them. I think they're great. That's right. That's right. You know what? Swarm War is fine. It's fine. New Jedi Order, I think, is the pinnacle of the expanded universe. I don't think it ever got better. You could say, well, it got worse, right? Well, technically, it didn't get better than New Jedi Order, but it was still good. Swarm War is fun. It's a continuation. It wraps up a storyline that, well, wraps up some characters you thought were gone. But anyway, yeah, it's fun. Star Wars movie ranking? I don't know. I know Rhino would probably have all three sequels as 1, 2, and 3. Is that correct?
What? Sorry, I was tweeting out. I was kind of listening, but I didn't have that up on screen. Sorry.
See, this
How
guy
you
he's so popular. He's got like several different dates going on today. So he's like texting them all like, hey, yeah, I'll be there. No, what time? No, can we rearrange this? You know, man's busy. Man's busy. You better hope he doesn't make it to the US.
Oh,
It'll be like the Beatles coming to America.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but I know how important it is to Americans, so I always like to give them a happy Thanksgiving for the day.
Well, thank you. That's fine. What's a holiday that y'all have that we don't celebrate?
Probably Melbourne Cup Day, actually.
Melbourne Cup Day.
Yeah, like we've got spring racing, like horse racing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. When is that?
For that. It's always the first Tuesday of November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it already happened.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right on.
Recently.
Wow. Nice. I know Canadians celebrate Boxing Day.
Yeah, we celebrate Boxing Day.
Boxing Day. What do you do on Boxing Day? Box up presents? Is that?
Well, we've got there's always the Boxing Day sales on, so all the retail stores are trying to sell up all their stock before the year ends, and all the Christmas stock that they had, so they put it all on sale.
Yeah. Okay. It's on our calendars, but no one celebrates it.
We get a day off for it.
I remember it used to be on our calendar when Boxing Day was, but no one does anything for it. It's not not that big a holiday. And Alex, yes, I know he sent one. I haven't responded back. I'm sorry. I've been very busy.
That question that you got asked before about whether or not Bail Organa knows that Anakin is Vader, he definitely does.
Yes.
Definitely does.
He does. I wasn't thinking at first, but yes, he does.
And he just chooses not to tell Leia.
Right. Even though now that I'm thinking about it, go ahead.
I was just going to say it was more to protect her, really.
Right. Protect her. But a cool story would have been maybe she found one of her father's old ships that had a journal of him, maybe.
Well, they sort of did that. They sort of did that in the Disney.
They did.
The Disney canon with the Bloodlines novel that they came out with.
Okay.
There's a whole storyline there where, well, not really. Like she obviously definitely knows 100% after Return of the Jedi, because Luke tells her. But nobody else in the galaxy. She keeps that a secret from everybody else. And then, politicians just happen to find out, and they use it against her. And try and discredit her in Disney's canon. But Disney's canon's all over the place.
Yeah, it's so bad that I hear they're curtailing some of the history. Who was it? I laughed when I heard this. This will be a topic on a more civilized age, but Jason Fry and Pablo Hidalgo saying it was too big to manage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what stopped you for the past 35 years before that?
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. They're getting creators in now for it that aren't fans. They never were fans. They don't understand the universe. They don't care about the universe, and their canon is all over the place. I mean, later today on my stream, Casual Rage, I'll be doing a breakdown of this last episode of Andor, the season finale, and of course like the whole series. But the end credit scene, there's a scene where all the parts when Andor was trapped in the prison, they were making parts for the Death Star, and the end credit scene is them like inserting the dish into the finished off moon, essentially, like putting the dish in. But if you actually look at the image at the end of Revenge of the Sith, when Vader and Palpatine are looking over the construction of the Death Star, the dish is already the dish is already in the sphere, the circle.
Right.
So it's not really a sphere, is it? But it's so like just simple little continuity things like that. And people want to say like you're nitpicking and all of that sort of thing. It's continuity. These things need to be managed. They need to be watched. They need to be told, no, the dish was already in the Death Star at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Like it's all over the place. I mean, that show was horrible.
No one cares. Rob made a point here. The Ahsoka novel, I heard about this, is non-canon, now based off season 7 of the Clone Wars, and Tales of the Jedi,
Tales of the Jedi is what actually destroyed most of that, to be honest. And that was one 15-minute little short that they bought out.
And that's the thing. That's why the everything's going to be in continuity. The story group team was going to make sure everything was in canon all together. Once you like it, and it was a big lie. They just want to tell whatever story they want. They're trying to downplay the importance of continuity to everyone. And just talking about, well, I mean, it's too big to handle. This universe is too big for us to handle, guys.
Yes.
It hasn't been for the past 35 years.
Even Tony Gilroy, the man that made Andor, this series that came out with, he came out and said to everyone, everything you thought you knew about the forming of the rebellion and everything, you're wrong. Like everything that you've been discussing over the last 30 years about the rebellion and the formation of it, you're wrong. And you look at it and like the whole time I'm watching this show, I'm like, where the hell is Bail Organa? Why is this new character that you've created, Luthen, the one that's forming the rebellion? Mon Mothma seems to not like. They've actually, for me, they've actually done damage to the character of Mon Mothma now. It's like every series that they come out with, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, they did damage to Vader and Obi-Wan and Luke and Leia with just the continuity side of things. Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, they did damage to Boba Fett. They did damage to Tusken Raiders. They just don't care about the story. They don't care about the continuity. They don't care about the lore. They don't care about the canon. And it's really noticeable.
On my podcast, people know this. Every once in a while, I'll get both the people who I do different podcasts with are both Star Wars fans, and they watch the new stuff. And I've gotten this question before. They say, "Hey, Matt, are you going to have them talk about Andor?" Because I'll have them talk about it. I don't care, but I'll have them talk about it.
Yeah.
And debate, because usually one of them loves it and one of them hates it, and it's always the opposites. It's never the same person.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think Benjamin loved Book of Boba Fett. Wes hated it. Wes loved The Mandalorian. Benjamin hated it, and they're just back and forth. Well, for Andor, this is kind of funny. Benjamin just hasn't gotten the interest to watch it. Wes watched the first episode and was so bored. He's trying to push himself through it, but he told me the other day it's just hard. He can't watch it.
You'll never get that 12 hours back. That's the problem. And they're pretty much they're 45-minute episodes roughly as an average. And there's a lot of, it's so slow and boring, and like it just doesn't doesn't feel like Star Wars. They even said like the Tony Gilroy came out and said like the aliens and the droids, like they're not in the forefront. They're all in the background. They're all background. So everyone that you're seeing, every character, every actual true character in this show is just another human. And there's no real droids. Like they even make this point in the prison, like Andor's working on these parts for the Death Star, and we only get that revealed in the final episode. But they actually make a point to say that it's cheaper for them to have sentient beings building these things than it is for them to have droids building these things. And it's like, hang on a second. You got to feed humans. You've got to sleep them. You got to put security on them. You've got to do all of these things. Whereas you can literally build droids, program them, and they will just do the work. And it's like, how is it cheaper to have to feed humans?
Yeah.
It's so, to me, it's just so stupid.
Doesn't make sense. All right, folks, real quick. This is the time I'm going to open it up now. We're going to continue our conversation.
Crystal Pepsi.
It's a Crystal Pepsi. It was part of the, they only had 300 winners. And one of the winners happened to be one of my subscribers. And they sent me a bottle.
Wow.
So I'm going to open this up, take a sip. I'm going to continue my wonderful discussion with Rhino, who I love dearly, and I'm thankful for. It's one of the things I'm thankful for.
I'm thankful for you, Matt.
Oh,
you're one of the solid rocks out there when it comes to Star Wars, and you know a lot of your stuff. You're very knowledgeable when it comes to this stuff.
Oh gosh, I'm going to cry. This is so good. All right, so good. All right, let me ask you another question, Ryan, since I have you on here. I'm kind of spoiling all my more civilized age stories, but I also want to ask, there's a billion opinions about Bob Iger coming back. My question to you is Star Wars on his list of things to fix? And if it is, what do you think he will do with it?
Well, I'm sure it's on his list to fix it, but he was there when he was there when he destroyed it. He was there when it got destroyed. I don't see. It's kind of like people ask me the question, if Kathleen Kennedy was to go, like, oh, Star Wars is saved as long as Kathleen Kennedy is not there anymore. Like, no, I don't see that at all. Like, I'm sorry for those Filoni fans out there and those Jon Favreau fans out there. These guys honestly are doing just as much damage as what the sequel trilogy did, just on a smaller scale. So it's not as prevalent. It's not as, obviously we all know what they did to Luke Skywalker, right? It's right. Bad what they did to him. But again, I'll take you to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Bob Iger wasn't there when Kenobi came out. It was Bob Chapek, but it was still Kathleen Kennedy. It was still John and Dave. They don't, and the biggest thing is that they don't get people that have an interest in telling the stories. When George Lucas wanted to essentially make the expanded universe, he got writers and people in that loved the universe, that loved Star Wars, that cared about the continuity of things. Like, they would go to George and maybe ask him, can I do this? Can I do that? No, yes. This is why. This is why you can do it. This is why you can't do it. All of these different elements to it. And there's no one there. Pablo Hidalgo is another one. Like, I see it as, especially with somebody like Pablo Hidalgo, who's been there from the George Lucas era of Star Wars through to now the Disney era of Star Wars, I see it as disloyalty. It's the same thing with like the Lord of the Rings and the Rings of Power and, the Marvel characters and stuff like that they're coming out with now. The people that are creating these shows, the people that are making Star Wars, the people that are making Marvel, the people that are making Lord of the Rings don't care about the universe. It has now become a platform for them to push whatever identity politics they can while telling a really shallow story in a galaxy far, far away, or whatever the universe or the IP is that they're working on. I don't see how Bob Iger coming back makes any difference.
Yeah, let's. I want to touch on something you just said. Rings of Power. The
Mm,
moment I knew I wasn't going to watch it was when I heard in an interview a long time ago, back when they were
mm,
making it, said, "Well, this won't be this," because I thought at first this is going to be the Silmarillion,
mm.
and they're like, "No, no, no, it's going to be stories inspired by the works of." And I stopped. I was like, "I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done." Inspired by the work, which means you're going to put the most atrocious garbage on stage. And I mean, you can say, "Oh, Matt, you called it." No, it was obvious. When you hear someone say that,
Yeah.
they're not going to stay true to the material. They're
Well,
going to put
it's
their own twist on it, and it
yeah.
sucks because they're not the creator. They're not. I hate when people think that I am smarter than geniuses who put together good stories, who put
Yeah.
together best. It's like now I've never watched or read Game of Thrones, but which means I'd be perfect showrunner to put something together, right? Because I've
Yeah,
never read
exactly.
or watched it.
I'm the same.
And
I've
I said,
never watched Game of Thrones either.
yeah, you know what? So they put me in charge of the new show. I never watched the old show. I never even read the books, but I'm
Yeah.
coming in with a fresh perspective. I'm going to be inspired by the works of George A. What's his name?
George R. R. Martin,
R
wasn't
R
it?
R R R R
Yep.
R R Martin. Yeah,
RRR.
whatever.
Yep.
Okay, a million R's. All right. And then what I do is basically I have a bunch of dragons sitting around having tea, talking about the weather.
Yep.
Okay, there you go. I'm perfect. I'm perfect for
Is your
this
house of
because
the dragon? Yeah.
I'm inspired. When I heard about dragons, I thought, you know what? I like tea drinking dragons. I mean,
Yeah.
this is exactly, I think, how they think. You know what I
Well, it's the
like
same
about?
thing. It's the
Yeah,
same thing with Tony Gilroy. You know, like I just said, he came in and the first thing that he says is, "I'm not a fan. I've never liked Star Wars." So he's the perfect person to make Star Wars. And he said to all the fans, everything you thought you knew about this entire era of Star Wars, you're wrong. And you're wrong because I'm going to change it, is basically what he was implying. And he did. He made it. It's just I
and
just can't. I can't stand the entertainment that we're in right now. The
yeah,
culture that
but
we're in right now.
but the hubris of it all is what
Yeah.
shocks me because it's essentially the greatest band, the Beatles. Okay, you're
Yeah.
following the Beatles. The Beatles have gifted you their songs and stuff, and you say, hey, instead of playing the music like they did, I'm gonna put my own twist on their words. I
Yeah.
rewrote their songs, or I rewrote the tune. It's my
Yeah.
tune now, and it sucks because you don't have the talent that these people did. They don't
Yeah.
have the talent. They don't have the creativity that George Lucas did. They don't have the they don't have the mind that Tolkien did. They just don't.
No.
But you know what? You can imitate. You can look at his book and bring us the best representation possible. People love Peter Jackson's trilogy. They felt that that was the best interpretation possible. I disagree, but he tried to stay true to the look and the
Yeah.
feel of it. So
There
there's
was
a few
some.
things people can appreciate, but at the same time, these people just went off on the range and just said, "We'll just do whatever we want to, and you should love it because
Yeah.
we attach Tolkien's name to it." That's the only thing
Yeah.
that makes it Lord of the Rings is because his name's attached to it, but it's not his stuff.
Yeah.
When I
There
hear
was something
inspired from the stories of,
inspired by.
I'm
Yeah.
out. I'm out. I knew it was gonna be
The
garbage
there
regardless.
was something that Critical Drinker said, and I've sort of taken this and run with it a little bit. He basically said, "You've bought the right. These people have bought the right to work on this stuff. They never earned the right. They never. It
Yeah,
was just you've bought the right, and
yeah,
that does not give you or give them the right to destroy it." Like, and that's what they're doing. They've bought the rights to it, but that does not give them the right to destroy it when you've got something that's been so beloved for so long. Like these Lord of the Rings, when did Tolkien write that? Like ages ago. It's been around for a long time. Star Wars, when did that first come out? 1977. You got the trilogy
yeah.
ending in 1983. It's been around a long time. The EU started in the early 90s. It's been around a long freaking time, and it does not give them the right to just come in and tell the fans what all this stuff that you loved about it. Nah, we're going to do
Yeah.
our own thing with it.
You need to do something that complements the storyline that highlights it. The expanded universe did that in spades.
Oh,
Darth
massively.
Plagueis really changed the
Yep.
way you look at episode 1.
Oh, massively.
There are certain Clone Wars stories out there that really were like, oh, okay, now I get the gist of what the Clone Wars was about. But there are stories out there that enhance these characters, that built off their proper story arc. Han and Leia were in love in Return of the Jedi. Let's keep that love and show how they raised a loving family, how they persevered through trials and tribulations, how they had tragedy and sorrow, and how they still stayed strong together. It's beautiful. That's beautiful. But we can't tell that now. We got to break down the character again and just basically do the whole thing over again. Han Solo started as a loner in New Hope. He's got to start as a loner in our trilogy again. He's got to end as a loner, coming back, learning the same lessons he learned 35 years ago. Like they didn't stick.
It's crazy.
It's insane. And it's like other things can do this. I feel things like Top Gun Maverick really complimented. They got what was going on with the
I
first
loved
movie.
that movie.
It's better than the original. It's better than the original. And
I agree.
Because they stayed true to it. Because here's the thing: when I was watching it, I was looking at all the characters that weren't in the first one. They're in the second one, but it felt like Jennifer Connelly was in the original one. It felt like she
didn't it? Yeah, it felt really
like
did.
Ed Harris. I had to look him up. I said, "Is he from the first one?" He feels like he's real. And John Hamm.
Yeah,
John Hamm's. You feel like John Hamm has been a part of this series.
Part of this, forever. They've been a part of the world forever. They've been,
and that's how you write. And then the thing is, the biggest trap for me, because I knew they're going to do Goose's son.
Yeah.
Call him Rooster. Oh, ha, ha. Give him a mustache. Ha, ha, ha. Have him play his dad's piano. Okay. Oh, my goodness. No, they did it properly. They did it right. And I was like, even though I knew what that character was going to be, they still made him likable. And they still made you care. All of these characters you cared about.
Yeah.
You cared about them all. And I was like, I told my wife, I said, it is unbelievable because I feel like I've missed another movie because these characters who are just in the sequel feel like they're established.
Yeah.
Because they're written well.
You kind of feel like there should be another movie that's in between the original movie and this movie. You're kind of missing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's excellent. That's when you know you've written something good. Cobra Kai the same way too. They've taken those movies and they've just enhanced upon them.
And that's sort of like what the expanded universe did. It just it expanded on it, and it just made the world. We talk about world building and stuff like that. Like it just built more within that world, or within especially with the expanded universe with Star Wars. But so did obviously Top Gun and like you're saying, Cobra Kai is another one.
So here's the thing: it can be done if it's given to the right people.
Yeah.
For instance, I hate the expanded universe is gone, but let's look at it this way objectively. What if they got people who really cared about Star Wars, really cared about the story, really cared about continuity, like we had previously?
Yeah.
But they got to tell their story on the screen. What an incredible opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And if you got the right people, you'd probably have something to be like, hey, Matt, I know you like the expanded universe, but this stuff's really good. I mean, they could have done that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Even though I love the expanded universe. Now, I want you to answer this question because I don't watch Andor, so I would not know. But Clay Decker wants to know what Andor does that messes up the story from the originals.
Okay. It's kind of hard because obviously there's not a lot through the movies, the 6 movies, that tells, let's say, Bail Organa's story or Mon Mothma's story, but you know who they are as characters. You know what they are. It's more what it does to the expanded universe. And again, they've decanonized the expanded universe, which I don't like the idea of, but that they basically, first of all, Bail Organa doesn't exist in the series. And this is supposed to be the building of the rebellion before obviously A New Hope. It's I don't even know how to put it into words. It's
Well, while you're doing Clay also has that he didn't care if he only cares about what's on screen. He didn't care if it contradicts anything in the books or other stories. And Clay,
yeah,
I mean, first off, Clay, that's fine.
yeah,
It's fine that you don't care about that. But the thing is that Disney sold us a bill of goods saying everything was going to connect. And when it didn't, they just kind of gave up and they kind of downplayed it and everything. And that's what people are upset about. Now, for someone like you, yes, it doesn't bother Clay at all. As
yeah.
long as the movies and the TV shows do not contradict. But have the movies, just in general, have the movies and TV shows. I don't know, Clay. I can't talk to it because I've never seen it. But
It
have them,
really, it just, it
has there anything been big? Has there any been big contradictions?
not in Andor. This is why
Okay.
people are saying that it's like better than Obi-Wan and better than Book of Boba Fett, because Book of Boba Fett actually does damage to the character of Boba Fett, and Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Oh,
that series did damage to the character of Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn. You know,
my buddy couldn't agree with you more on that. He thought that Boba Fett was just awful, just awful. He said just
awful.
destroy the character.
But Andor, for me, there's a lot in there that doesn't, like, we always talk about this feeling of Star Wars. This felt like Star Wars. This sounded like Star Wars. Andor doesn't feel like it's in the Star Wars universe. It just feels like a soap opera, and a really boring and slow soap opera at that. Like the story with Mon Mothma. Like, first of all, why is she having a go at Luthen for doing rebellious acts? Why is he having a go at Luthen when they do the heist? What happened to the money from the heist? He's got 80 million credits. She only needs 400,000 credits, and she's been paying him 100,000 credits a month. Why can't he pay some of that money back so that she can cover her tracks for the Empire? Why doesn't she go to Bail Organa to ask him for the credits that she needs to? I mean, Bail Organa is supposed to be one of the richest people in the galaxy. You know, why didn't she go to Bail Organa, who's supposed to be her friend, who's supposed to be, the two people that effectively started the rebellion, the Rebel Alliance? They started it together. It's in, again, it's in the books, but it's there's so much in regards to Mon Mothma's story that dragged out and didn't make any sense. And I'm answering it like this because you asked the question, Clay, in regards to what messed up from the original trilogy. Because Luthen and Andor, these other characters are their own made-up characters, and they never existed in the original movies, there's nothing that they could have done with those characters that destroys anything from that. It's more the fact that they've destroyed what we understood for the forming of the Rebel Alliance with Bail and Mon Mothma. But I look at Mon Mothma's story just in isolation and I go, okay, we got 12 episodes of her complaining, crying, and all of this kind of stuff about getting funds, needing to get funds, doing these fundraisers. What happened to the money from all these fundraisers that she's doing? And again, like, we get to the heist that Luthen's got 80 million credits. The only explanation that we get is that the credits have already been distributed. Like, where? He gave none of them to Sol Guerrera because he's still living in a cave. He gave none to Mon Mothma. What happened to 80 million credits? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And it just gets dropped. The storyline just gets dropped. This was the tale of two stories. It was actually the tale of three stories. You get the first 4 or 5 episodes up to episode. Was it? I can't even remember now. You get the first couple of episodes that builds up to a heist. You get the heist story that gets dropped. Then you get the next couple that go into a jailbreak, that gets arrested, and all the people that love it think that, they're showing us police brutality. It's good to see police brutality in Star Wars. Like, what are you talking about? And then we get the heist. Build up to a funeral, and we get the funeral, and okay. That's what the story was. No aliens, no droids, no Star Wars to be seen. Just this lame as slow burn, as people like to call it. I like to prefer to call it boring as hell. And
Well,
that's what it did for me. It did absolutely nothing. It doesn't
okay.
necessarily destroy anything from the movies per se, but it definitely destroys Star Wars canon, continuity, and lore if you look at it as a whole with the expanded
Okay.
universe and what we knew about the forming of the Rebel Alliance.
And to Clay's comment, he doesn't care about that part. So,
Yeah,
but at the same time, to your point, Clay, if you were to answer the question, well, here's where these characters were, you would probably have to go to. They'll probably make a book talking
yeah.
about why they weren't in the original. I mean, that's the thing. You won't be able to defend that comment for that. But I want to know, Clay, what did you like Andor? I haven't, not to say no one loves it. I just haven't heard of anyone who liked it, and I'm interested. I'm truly interested, Jeff, if you liked it or not.
It's because you're on
Josh,
Twitter.
hello,
You're on.
welcome. I thought you were dead.
If you were
John,
on
I sent
Twitter,
you
you'd
an
see a
invite
lot of
because
people.
I'm only allowing Australians on the stream today. So come on in if you can,
Like,
and welcome
just to give
everyone
you,
else that's new.
just to give
Go
you an
ahead.
idea, like I'm when I'm watching these shows, Disney, Star Wars, I am very critical of what I'm seeing, right? But when I see, go Tom, when I see something like in this last episode that we had, there's this one scene, literally, Luthen, they're all on Ferrix, they're all at the funeral and this kind of thing, Andor's mum's funeral, and there's a big uprising of the people on the planet that start attacking all the Imperials. While all of that's happening, Luthen jumps on his speeder bike and starts heading back towards his ship. While he's doing that, Andor is saving Biggs, this chick, from being tortured by the Empire, and he takes her to a shuttle or a ship, a shipping yard, so that all his friends can escape, and he leaves them to escape. And the next time you see Andor, poof, he's like magically appeared on Luthen's ship. While Luthen had to use his speeder bike to get there, it's like he teleported there. Like, there is no other explanation for how he got there before Luthen did, when he was already on his speeder bike heading there and Andor was saving Biggs in that moment. There's no explanation. There is nothing other than teleportation. You know, he used the Nightcrawler from X-Men to get there. Like, honestly, that it makes no sense. If you saw what I saw, it makes no sense.
Well,
It just, and they don't think about that. They're like these new creators out there, these new writers out there. They don't think about that. Force speed, yeah.
John is also that's Relic. He's also from your country and is a fantastic fellow. Um, yeah, but and he said he's a mild mannered rhino and he doesn't think we need one if we have a raging one. Well, either way, John, thanks. You're always welcome to come on the channel at any time. Actually, really.
Well, I've been going through. I reread Plagueis recently, but I've been going through the Bane trilogy again, and
Look, someone's either trolling us or being
yeah,
honest.
it's
So,
either a
Josh, I want to
troll.
know what you loved about Andor because I have not heard anyone say any good things. I'm not saying it's bad because I don't care either way. It's new canon,
Yeah,
but let me know why. Let Rhino know why, so he can tell you why
that
you're wrong.
that's the thing. Like, I've put out my reviews for every episode, and there's been a couple of episodes where I've watched and my reviews have been quite like, oh, they irritate me. It makes me angry because it was just bland and boring, right?
You
And
get angry?
oh, yeah, yeah. And there's people in the comments, and obviously they have their digs at me, and fair enough. Okay, that's fine. But I've asked people to tell me what they liked about it. It's like, oh, it looked really good, or it sounded really good, or it was acted really good. Okay, what about the story? Was the
Okay.
story any good, or was it just the shots? Was it just
Clay
it
said he
did?
did like it because it's the first Disney Plus Star Wars series that genuinely well made well made and doesn't rely on member berries. What does
Okay.
that mean?
It means it doesn't rely on nostalgia bait. Like,
Oh,
putting
gotcha. Gotcha.
putting shit on the screen just for the sake of putting it on the
Mando
screen.
is a gas station food, and Andor is a full course meal.
I want to show you guys something. I'm gonna go over this on my stream. But
Okay, so Clay, you're gonna have to check out Raging Rhino tonight or whenever later on today.
It's in 11 and a half hours from now. I'll be doing
11,
my
and then you
stream.
got plenty of time to go get your Thanksgiving on, and then come back. And here we go. You still got him rolling here. But anyway, Clay, I'm glad that you liked it, and thank you for telling me that. Like I said, I don't care either way, but Rhino's going to break it down on his channel, and obviously he's doing it for mine too. So go. This is how much I love Rhino, because I don't talk new canon, but I love this man so much. I'm going to let him talk.
I don't like new canon either. I just watch
Whatever,
it.
that's all you talk about.
But okay, so last week on my stream,
I do want to say this for people who don't know your channel. Rhino's, you think it's someone who's just watching this stuff to tear it all down. No, he wants to like this stuff.
I do.
He wants to like it. He wants to see what's there. You will say if you thought something was cool.
Absolutely.
You will say that. You will give credit there. And again, you're just wanting to just see better storytelling. So I'm sorry. Go. I just wanted to preface that.
No, thank you. So I did a video the other day.
You got a subscriber.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, go subscribe to him too. He's a great guy.
I did a video the other day, and it was literally just because yes, okay, it didn't have member berries in it, but it did have a few jangling keys. It did have a few little bits of nostalgia bait in there, and it was more or less all the stuff in Luthen's store. Now, I did a video basically pointing those little things out, right?
All the Easter eggs that were in the store.
That were in Luthen's store. And I went over this on my stream last week as well. And this has just come out, and it says Star Wars confirms. So they're confirming 10 Andor Easter eggs leaked to the Mando, to the Mandalorian and more. Now,
you were talking about if some of that stuff actually exists in the store.
Yeah, this stuff. So you've got Padme's headpiece, right?
Yeah.
Like from Attack of the Clones. Now, this is the one that I want to point out the most. So Star Wars has now confirmed that this armor plate is the Mandalorians. The problem is that Andor, the series of Andor, exists 14 years before Mando's armor was forged. So if you watch The Mandalorian, right, that takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Andor takes place 5 years before A New Hope. So there's 10 years there, and then you've got the time period between the original trilogy, which is 4 years. So that's 14 years. So they've just confirmed that this armor plate does belong to the Mandalorian from the Mandalorian series, but yet it exists before it was ever even forged.
Okay, so pause right there because I got a lot of comments here.
That's a continuity issue for me.
Right. John says that he said Andor poo-poos on Kenobi and Boba Fett, and I think that is the intention of Lucasfilm to destroy the legacy characters so you accept the new characters. Is that a fair statement?
It absolutely is, but for me, in the Andor series, they've destroyed another legacy character in Mon Mothma. They've done sort of damage to her, to be honest with you.
Okay. Josh says that he disagrees with the boring part. He likes the slow pace and likes seeing regular people of Star Wars universe and how they struggle under the Empire. And that the Empire is actually competent and intimidating in the show for the first time since Empire. Is that true or no?
I'm going to say each to their own on that, because I look, that everybody wants to come out and go, the Empire, they're bad. Yeah. You see how bad they are. You see how oppressive they are, and all of this kind of thing. And, yes and no. There are elements to Star Wars where people thought that the Empire were oppressive. There were parts of that were attached to the Empire that thought the Empire was good for them. And it was the way Palpatine manipulated it. It was like, we know that the Empire is bad. Look at what they did to Alderaan. They fucking killed. Sorry, didn't mean to swear. They killed. I always do that when I come on here. I'm sorry.
All right. Sorry.
They, we know the Empire is bad. They destroyed an entire planet. They killed billions of people.
So before we go, I'll let you go through this. I agree with what Clay's saying here. It's like remember Ahsoka, remember this, remember that, and that's exactly what this is doing.
Yeah,
it's just to charge fans up, get their nostalgia going. He says not black and white. Let me see what else.
Well, look at this. Why are there Indiana Jones Easter eggs in Star Wars?
Clay's making the argument that they were saying they were real Easter eggs, but not considered part of the, I guess, the lore of the story. Just like they were just put in there for production pranks.
Well, then what's it doing there? Like, if it's not a part of the lore, then what's it doing in the show? Like, they confirmed that this is the Mandalorian's armor. I'm sorry.
I can see both sides here. I can see both sides here. You're taking it literally because it is in the storyline, Clay. It is
part of the
story.
Show.
But Clay's looking at it like, well, they just thought it'd be cute to put a few things in there. I agree with that too. But at the same time, you got to understand, and Clay, I agree with you. But the thing is, you got to understand, some fans, they if it's there, then that must mean something. You know, like when we saw the alien skull in Predator 2, that must mean they have seen each other before, which unfortunately they made a movie about, which was not very good. Then they made a sequel, which wasn't even better. So
the holocrons, we've always known holocrons to be able to fit in the palm of your hand. So what, they just blew them up so that they made sure that the fans saw them? Like, continuity issue. Like, I'm sorry, that's what it is to me. They made Starkiller canon. I didn't notice that one, to be honest with you. They made
John's true about this. Mon Mothma, she's known, but she doesn't have as many scenes. So I can see it's like a Crix Maydeen and stuff like that, and Admiral Akbar. They're notable characters. Here's what I would consider. If they were from the movies, they're pretty legendary characters to me, but that's only because, from my perspective, from the expanded universe, when you took one of the characters, no matter how small, Wedge Antilles. Wedge Antilles is huge, but he's barely in the trilogy, right?
Yeah.
He's shown here and there. So I think that's what Rhino's talking about when he's talking about legacy characters, because when they hit the screen, it's like, that's one of the main, they were in the original trilogy. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, well, for me, Mon Mothma's not really acting how, look, each to their own on this. I guess I would have thought that Mon Mothma would be acting 5 years out from A New Hope. There was also the Easter egg from Indiana Jones. His whip.
Yeah, R2-D2 and C-3PO are on the wall, hieroglyphics.
Yes, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Indiana Jones's whip is frozen in carbonite in his store as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So a lot of Lucasfilm. Oh, hey, switching topics real quick.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones 5.
Mm-hmm.
That there hasn't been anything out on it yet, right? Like teasers or trailers or something.
No teasers, no trailers. There's been a leaked
There's been rumors.
Story.
Yeah.
There's been rumors and leaked story, but like, to be honest with you, with stuff like that, I'm really getting over them pushing to have to continue these stories or remake stories. Like, they're so, like, Lucasfilm or Hollywood is so creatively bankrupt to me.
Yeah.
That all they can do is go back to all the things that we used to love, or all the things, the movies, the shows that we loved, and try and make it new and fresh and, look like the world we live in today. And it just, to me, that removes me out of it. It's kind of like when everybody was talking about Andor and the police brutality thing. He literally gets sentenced to 6 years in prison for walking to the shop. And it's like, really? Are we really doing this? Okay. All right. Yeah, the Empire is so oppressive. Like, oh my God, they're so evil. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think there's a lot to be said from fans who are passionate about it, and they just want good storytelling told, and they're not getting that. They're not getting the respect they have. Um,
The thing is with the expanded universe is honestly, if the reason one of the reasons why they decanonized the EU was because, one of their excuses or their reasons for it was because the fans that have read it, when they watch it, when they adapt it, wouldn't be surprised or shocked by, those shocking moments or anything like that. Like, let's say Chewbacca dying. You've read that story. Like that is a shocking moment. Like, even me got, like, reading that, got sort of emotional about that. That was pretty crazy. And then they think,
right.
oh, well, if we adapt that and we show that on the screen, well, the people that have read it are going to know what's going to happen. So they wanted to scrap it all so that they could give everybody something new. But that's not how it's kind of like all the people that watch Lord of the Rings and then they go and watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy and they love it. You're
Yeah.
seeing now. I know that they changed a few things from that, but I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're feeling, and Clay, I can hear what you're saying too. They just did it for fun, yes, obviously. So, but at the same time, it's preference is what it boils down to.
But did they do okay? So we were talking about the Easter eggs and the continuity issues with, let's say, Mando's armor and stuff, and
Right.
they were just doing it for fun. Okay, so when you watch the end of Revenge of the Sith and you see the Death Star and it's got the dish already inserted in it, and then you watch the end credit scene and the last thing that they're putting into the Death Star is the dish, and there's a continuity issue there. Did they just do that for fun?
I mean, yeah. There's gonna be continuity errors in it, obviously, obviously, and it's just gonna be it's up to the viewer to say what are we gonna forgive
Mm,
and what are we gonna let go. And obviously for Clay, and I'm sure for Josh, I'm gonna speak for Josh
mm.
because I thought he was dead for the past year. Seriously, I haven't seen that dude in forever. So I'm going to say that they will forgive minor inconsistencies
Yeah.
because of something they enjoy. I can't give an example myself, but I'm sure there's something out there for me too that I will forgive a minor inconsistency in the storyline, and I don't know what. I'm trying to think of. I mean, the stormtrooper hitting his head in A New Hope is just funny. Um, that doesn't bother me, like
Well, that was
continuity
just a
wise.
blooper that they just didn't do another
They didn't
take.
blew
It's
they didn't
just
blew over. But I mean, it's funny that a stormtrooper bumped his head, man.
yeah.
Even if it, let's say it was done on purpose, I'd have been like, okay, I'm fine with that. I'm trying to think of what any other errors. I mean, you see the man on his knees dressed as a Jawa who kind of pushes the R2 unit a little bit with his hand in the background.
Hmm.
Um, I really wish that someone would have written a short story to talk about it was a man hiding from maybe Uncle Owen or whatever,
Yeah.
traveling with the Jawas at the time, who owed Owen money or maybe robbed him one time, was trying to hide from Uncle Owen in a Jawa's robe. I think that would have been a fun story. They didn't do it. I'm just trying to think of all these other little things. I'm talking about bloopers. I know these aren't, Easter eggs they put in there on purpose, but for the Easter egg of Indiana Jones, let's say for Raiders of the Lost Ark is where that's in, right?
Yeah, correct.
And you know what? For years, decades, I never knew that existed.
Mm.
Only when I got the DVDs did someone tell me, and I paused it just right. And like I didn't know that in what was the second movie?
Um, you're talking about
Last Crusade, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh my gosh, how did I forget it?
Temple
I
of
love it.
Doom. Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. I love this movie. How did I forget it? Oh my gosh. Anyway, in Temple of Doom, they're in Club Obi-Wan. And I
Yeah,
never noticed that. I never noticed that until someone told me years later.
I didn't
Um,
know that.
yeah, the club that it's just for a little quick. It's quick, but he gets kicked out. It says Obi-Wan. That's
Oh, I didn't
the
even.
name of the club, and it's like in
I've never
pink
even
neon.
seen that.
It's very brief, but you can catch it on the DVD.
Mm,
And then, like I said, I didn't know that one either. And then for Last Crusade, I believe because General Veers he's the villain in this one, the same guy that played General Veers.
yeah.
They said that on the piano he's playing the Imperial March as Indiana Jones comes in,
I'm
and
gonna have to I'm gonna have to rewatch that now.
that's the Star Wars tease there. And then the
Yeah.
Star Wars tease for the fourth one is they give the classic line, "I have a bad feeling about this,"
Yeah.
which was there. So I'm sure it's going to reference Star Wars. The new one will too. I'll be honest. Of course, I like everyone else hated the fourth one. I want a fifth one only because I want it to end on a high note.
Hmm.
However, nothing is better than the ending of the Last Crusade, where
I
they're riding
agree.
off into the sunset in his
Yeah, and we
prime.
get to find out that he was actually named after the dog.
And it's great. He's riding off with his
Yeah.
friends, his family, his dad. Everything's perfect. Everything's perfect. Well, anyway, I see everyone's comments in there. Thank you very much. I'm going to have to go now because it's getting ready to start the festivities for the day. Rhino, if you'd like to come over, you're always welcome.
Oh, I'd love to.
I mean, not just Thanksgiving, buddy. You always have a room here with me.
Appreciate
If
that.
you make it to the States, he's a
Yeah,
great guy, folks. Check him out. He rages,
I
but
do.
he's got a kind heart.
I do.
He does.
And I think I've got a kind heart. I hope I do.
Yeah,
Look,
you do.
I know that there's people out there that disagree with me on this stuff. If I could just end on this, I just don't view Disney Star Wars as Star Wars. There's a lot of issues, there's a lot of problems there, and I'll watch it and I'll say if there's something good there that I liked or whatever. But there's only so much that you know when there's a lot of bad, you surround one little good thing by a fair bit of bad, and it doesn't make it great.
Right.
And everybody out there saying, "Oh, this is the best Star Wars we've ever got. It's the best dialogue, the best writing we've ever got." And I'm sitting there going, "Are we watching the same show? Are we really watching the same show here?"
Yeah.
Like, I
And,
can't see it.
I'll try to get Andor on the podcast if Wes ever finishes and Benjamin ever gets the desire to watch it. I'll let
Yeah.
him talk about it. It's fine. Everyone knows my opinion. I don't watch the new stuff. I'm not interested in it. The reason I love Star Wars was because of the expanded universe.
Yeah.
I don't care if people love it or hate it. It's not for me to jump in and say that. I mean, I do think the expanded universe had a better storyline, but at the same time, I didn't even give the new one a shot. So
Hmm.
I don't have any opinion when it boils down to it. Want to thank everyone for coming on. Yes, I did. Very interesting. Thank you for sending it to me. I think I responded back, but that was when I got the email.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone
Thank
as
you, lovely.
well. I hope you
Yes,
have
and
a
happy
good
Thanksgiving to everyone as well.
festivities.
Lots of fun things coming up on the channel. I'm eventually going to record a more civilized age. We're going to see how that works. Obviously, I've revealed what some of the topics are because it's Thanksgiving Day, but just a lot of the topics I just asked Rhino about Bob Iger coming back, about Jason Fry and Pablo Hidalgo, and basically the whole story group kind of throwing up their hands and going, "It's too much for it to handle." And then, I had another question that I was going to pose to my group, and I'll do that next week though. It's just a random question. I was reading a book and I thought, hey, how come they don't do this more? Not that they needed to. It's just like, how come they didn't? But anyway, again, I want to say thank you to Quinlan Voss who gave me this. I drank about half. I'm drinking the rest. I'm going to surprise my family and bring this to the breakfast table. We're about to go to a big breakfast. They'll be like, Crystal Pepsi. Like, yeah, what up? It's another great day. But anyway, so one of the things I am thankful for is the people that I've gotten to meet and get to know on YouTube. Rhino, you are definitely one of
Yes.
those. And there are several others out there too. And either in the chat who've come on before, either way, this is another avenue where I get to talk about things with good people, and that's is more than I could ask, right? So really happy,
Sure.
really happy, really thankful. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. I got a great Yub Nubs holiday special already planned out. That'll come out early in December, not late, not the week before Christmas. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully, I'm going to get some board games played today and get some fun to be had.
Nice.
But, yeah. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving, with your friends and family, and we will see you next time.